Hello, Sammy Zatarari. Why would somebody be calling for secularism in Egypt, Tunisia, and the various other countries currently going through revolution? Um, quite frankly, I don't understand how people could not be calling for secularism. And one of the reasons is, can you think of a theocratic regime in the entire history of mankind that was a good thing, like a good regime? Um, and I was sitting there pondering it, and I was really trying to think of at least one example, and I just can't do it. I can't do it. It doesn't matter if they're Christian, if they're Muslim, if they're Jewish. It just doesn't matter. These regimes are bad. They do bad things. Now, from a historical reason is not good enough to. That's not really a good enough argument for why you should want secularism. Um, since I don't believe in any particular religion, of course I love secularism. But why would a religious person accept secularism? Why would a religious person such as yourself want to advocate for call for secularism? And there's actually a good reason. Um, why would the regime, even if it calls itself Islamic, you know, why would it live in accordance with Islamic principles? I mean, can you point to an Islamic regime that did follow Islamic principles properly, with without corrupting it, without corrupting Islam? Um, I don't I think you'll be hard pressed to find something. Another reason you'd want secularism, in your case at least, from my studies of Islam, um, religion cannot be compelled or imposed. Um, that's what I was getting from my brief reading of the Quran, that it can't be imposed or enforced on people. A theocratic state, by definition, will be imposing religion on people. Um, and not necessarily even the particular branch of Islam that you believe. It may be a different branch, and or just a completely corrupted version of Islam. So the Islamic State that would come about, um, would almost guarantee, I guarantee it'd become a totalitarian regime, a nightmare state. And the people in those countries will rise up, as we see in Iran. The people are rising up, trying to get um, more democracy and more freedom, something that secularism can provide them. An Islamic State cannot do that. Uh, Modern examples of religious states that I think are just don't lend good light on the very concept. Um, right off the bat, the Taliban. I don't think they were all that great. Um, States still in power. Israel actually is an example of a religious state that should be secular. Um, there's a lot of people argue that Israel is secular. No, they're a Jewish state. They have democratic. It's a democratic theocracy is what it is, which is still wrong. Um, but anyhow, yeah, I don't see why you would oppose secularism. I mean, I can understand the French model of secularism just because it basically outlaws religion everywhere. But something like an American model, people walk around all the time. Muslims here and where I live, they walk around all the time wearing hijabs and um, what's the other one? The full face mask one, not the burqa, but the niqab. Niqab. They wear the niqab all the time. Nobody hassles them. Nobody cares. It's not a big deal. Um, but at the same time, if the state was imposing that on everybody, that might be a big deal. So, yeah, I don't see why you would oppose secularism at all. If anything, you should be calling for it. For it's better for your religion. It's better for any religion, really, because government will corrupt religion. It will happen. Um, the Christian monarchies of old Europe, who constantly went to war all the time over religion, were they, following Christianity? No. I'm pretty sure Jesus said, "Love thy neighbor, not stab thy neighbor and cut his head off." But anyhow, yeah. For a religious person, you'd want to support a secular system because it's good for religion. I mean, it's good for your religion, it's good for everybody's religion. It's just a good idea. And then the other reason is a theocratic state will be totalitarian. It will be bad. It will do bad things. Whether it's a democratic theocratic state, like Israel, or flat out totalitarian state like Afghanistan was, or one can argue Iran is right now. Yeah, secularism works. That's probably why people are calling for secularism in Egypt, Tunisia, and various other countries. Probably Libya, see what happens there. Yeah, well, anyhow, I hope that answers your question.